What can you hear? What can you not hear? Okay. What can you hear? What can you not hear? Is it from my side alone, or some other persons are experiencing the same network glitch? All right. Welcome
Hmm,
once again to
we can
this
hear you.
class. Yeah. If your environment is noisy, it's advised it's advised that you mute while before joining. The call is supposed to mute you, so don't unmute yourself. Okay. Unless you want to speak, or if your environment is quiet, it's even good that you're not muted. But if it's gonna cause some noise, okay, yeah, I think it's something that we will need to. And then you now need to, Okay, so what's this article? The advantage you had yesterday will be replaced by the trends of tomorrow. You don't have to do anything wrong as long as your competitors catch the wave or do it right. Okay, I want you to also read this second case here on Samsung versus Nokia so that you can see how the historical perspective of BGS relationships affect business. Okay, I just copied it and pasted. I didn't even edit it, but no problem anyway. So let's look at the models of BGS relationship. In our last class, we started by defining the three concepts, and then I introduced you to the field of BGS, right? And I said there are several approaches. There are things that you must bear in mind, and those are the things that makes the field of BGS important to managers. Okay, so by that, what we mean is that the field is such a sensitive one, and number one, we said it cuts across many disciplines. I hope you remember that now. We said it's interdisciplinary. Okay, business in itself doesn't really have any product. The product that business sells or deals in comes from physics, chemistry, biology, all the other stuff, all the other disciplines, physical sciences, okay, social sciences, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then we talked about the global aspect now, the global perspective. The global perspective, how it gave rise to global capitalism, and how that global capitalism comes with its own advantages as well as with its own disadvantages, or should I say challenges. Okay, right. And then we also talked about what the historical perspective, right? Now, when you read this Samsung and what do you call it now, Samsung and Nokia, you will understand a little bit of the historical perspective, how things evolve, and as they are evolving over time, you also have to move. You also have to do something about it. So, in this today's lesson, we'll be looking at the model. We'll be starting with models of the BGS relationship. Okay, but first of all, I want us to define what a model is, right? What a model is. Then we'll now look at the four models of BGS relationship. While we try to differentiate these four models of BGS relationship from other four models or issues that you'll be meeting in the study. Okay. Yeah. So what is a model? Okay. What's a model? What's a model? Like in this case, what is a model? Okay. What is a model? You can see it on my screen already. So somebody can just read what is a model and what is a model in our course. Go on quickly. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
can I read it from the one on the screen?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Read from the screen.
Okay, it's a model is a simplified description of a system or a process to
Mhm.
assist productions in
Hold on
research.
from there.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay, to assist predictions. Okay, yeah, you can continue from there now.
Okay, in
Research
research
and
or
academics.
academics, a model is a
Material
pictorial or graphic
solutions
representation of
and
key
concepts.
concepts.
Mm-hmm.
It shows with the help of arrows and other diagrams the relationship between various concepts or variables.
All right, so let's have it there. When you say in simple terms, or even in more simpler terms, thank you very much for your reading. In simpler terms, we can say how something is or how something should be like. That's what a model is. Put it that way. How is it supposed to be? It exists in different ways. Actually, you can see people who build houses who are into construction. They can have a design on the board or on a piece of paper that they're using to guide what they are supposed to build. Okay, that's a model, and some of them even go to the extent of constructing that thing small. Which you must have seen some things like that. That's also a model. Okay, and then in fashion world, the same word comes out, model. People who are used to showcase fashion products, right? And then so all of these just tell you, okay, this is how something should be. Okay, so like I said in the last paragraph, now we want to see a model as what describes a situation, okay, or an idea that tells us, that suggests or tells us how business and government and society should relate. In what sense? When we talk about this relationship, we're talking about influence. Okay. So, what is the influence? In today's Nigeria, you can see that the government has a very strong influence over business. Everybody is quite aware of that. The government has a very, very strong what? Influence. The government can just come up with a decision today and businesses will just start readjusting themselves. Either you readjust yourself or something will adjust you.
I'm going now. Go sit down for that my home.
Okay, yeah. So that's what we're saying. So that's just like how it is. But in some societies, business has a strong voice as well. Business has a strong voice. And also in some countries, the society has strong influence. But these things happened through different stages, right? These things happen through different stages. Okay. Yeah. Give me a second, please.
I can't hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Sir, I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, I cleared for a second actually, so I don't know if you got that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, I pleaded for a second, okay, but I used more than that. Actually, definitely, it would have been more than that. Okay, so when you read that case, which of the cases now? The one we were reading the other day, that's Exxon Mobil, right? You may begin to see pictorially or the pictures of this influence. Another word for influence here is this power. Okay, who influences who between business, government, and society? Or remember, I said the approach that you should have is that you own your own business unit, right? And in the entire society, there is the society itself where your customers, your neighbors, your suppliers, and all of those other things come from, other businesses or the business world as a whole, or and even the government. Okay, so they are all players. They all have their interest. The government has its interest. Your neighbors or the community now that is not considered to be business or government have that part now has their own interest. Okay, or should I say they have their own interest, and then the business world itself have their own interest. Whoever has more influence will be able to push his or her influence forward, and that influence will affect your own business unit. Now you get the perspective. Good. So that's why I said the word here is what? Power. And that depends on what that relationship is like. So what these models would do, the models can describe, right? Interpret, explain, or prescribe what is supposed to be like. This is what models do in these kind of settings. One of four things. They either do at least one of four things. They're either describing what the situation is in this power relationship. I believe now when I say power relationship, you understand what I mean. Okay, I'm talking about influence, power, how somebody can push his own interest to you, and then they interpret what that power relationship is like between business, government, and society. They either explain what that power relationship is like, or they prescribe it. So we have four models. What we have here now. Take note of this, okay? Why am I saying this? When we get to another topic, you also find models of something else. Like when we get to corporate governance, you will find models of corporate governance, and those ones too are four. So you don't mix them up, okay? When we get, I think that's the same part. Then they also have theories of corporate governance. I think those ones also are also four. So when you want to discuss models of BGS relationship, be sure that it's the models of BGS relationship that you're discussing, and not models of corporate governance or theories of corporate governance or something else that looks like them. Okay. One thing that's common with each of these sets of four is that there is always the stakeholder model, stakeholder theory, stakeholder this, stakeholder that. So in the four models, you have stakeholder also. Okay, but let's look at the four of them anyway. We said number one, we have the market capitalism model. Market capitalism model. What comes to mind here? As I told you, the key word to look out around for this in is what? The influence, the power, the influence. Who has the ability to push down his interest down the throat of the others? Okay. Then number two, we have the dominance model. Number three, we have what they call countervailing forces. Countervailing forces. And then number four, we have stakeholder model. These are like stages. My voice is breaking up. Wow, that should be network. Can everybody hear me straight up without breaking?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir, I can hear you, sir. Okay.
okay. So
Yes.
if I'm not
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
if I'm breaking from your end, if I be your network, okay, I understand that the network has not been so good over the past 3 weeks in Nigeria or in this part of Nigeria generally, sharp. So maybe what you should do is to just go off the call and join again immediately. So your network or you go on flight mode for 5 seconds and put off your flight mode and then come back to normal. Those things can reset your network, okay? Good. So let's jump into this, right? I said, now talking about this model, look at what the models are looking at. We said these models, what they tell you is that people see things differently, okay? So we said, depending on the model, people will think differently as to how powerful should business be. Okay, you see how Dangote is doing Dangote and petroleum marketers now. How Dangote is influencing price of petrol. If not that the government is limiting him in a way, you just know what he would have done. Okay, with the prices that we are at currently now is what Dangote drove down. Because what they come drove it down to that point. At the point I once saw that at a point they wanted to drive it down to 600 and something naira. And no, each time he does that, now that's power, that's influence. I'm not forgetting it now. That's what this model is talking about. Okay, and you see how the government can just wake up and good. So let's continue from there. Okay, we said so because of this power, based on this, how should managers make decisions? Okay, in a society, because like I said, something will hit you if you don't do something about if you don't move, something will move you. Okay, so and then how to what extent now do the society or other parties really care about how the company, how business behaves, how your business behaves? That also depends on how much influence they have. Okay, if the society begin to say you are doing this too much and they want to close down your business, they will. In Nigeria, those things are usually difficult, but in America, any small thing like this now can throw your business, no matter how big your company is. Okay, and then what are the ethical duties of a manager? And then what's the need? Is there really need to regulate businesses? If yes, how? So let's look at these four schools of thoughts. The market capitalism. Wait, what comes to your mind when you hear market capitalism? What comes to your mind? Somebody talk to me. Let's give me one word or one small sentence. What comes to your mind in the light of all that we've been discussing? Okay, when I say all that we've been discussing, I've been discussing power. Okay, okay, please go on, please. Thank you so much.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I saw. Okay, go on, please. Good evening. You're welcome, sir.
When we are talking about capitalist economy in this situation,
Mm.
it simply means a situation whereby a so dependent person is controlling the economy. Take,
Good,
for example, the case of Dangote, which
good,
controls the petroleum industry now.
good. Thank you very much. That's a very good one. Thank you very much. So, the long and short is that business has the power here under the market capitalism model. The people that have the influence and the people with the money. Put it that way. Not just money, not political money. We have two types of money in Nigeria. We have political money and economic money. Mhm. This one is not political money. This one is economic money. People that have the goods and the services. That's business now. So let's quickly look at what that says. We said now the first school of thought, okay, is called the market capitalism model. Okay. Now that model tries to define this relationship from the perspective of a capitalist economic system, right? Where who are in charge? Businesses are in charge. They control the flow of resources. Okay, they control it, and all they care about in majority of cases is what? Profit. At that level, there's no now at the level where we are now, even in Nigeria, Dangote is even doing more of corporate social responsibility, societal considerations. Okay, he's considering the society, that is social. Otherwise, he can even join heads with the marketers to drive profit. By now, fuel price would have been 2,000 naira, but you see where we are. Okay, so he's even having a consideration of social responsibility. But let's look at it anyway. They have made, of course, we know the primary objective of business has been profit. See, this is what global capitalism does, where they come in the name of multinationals and then they're in your country and they're trying to influence things all because they want to drive, want to make profit. I think this is where there are claims actually that most majority of all of these insecurity disturbances we're having in Nigeria are powered by some of all of these foreign companies who want certain materials or certain things, and ordinarily they wouldn't get them because of consent. So they have to now initiate certain crises and so on and so forth, so that they can. But those things have not been brought to light, so people cannot say anything much about them. Okay, so we said here that business is the boss. In this model, business is at the top. As a matter of fact, they are operating freely in the market, okay, through strict competition. So, as a manager of your business, your focus here should be what the businesses are doing. Like the example my brother gave just now, if you are a petroleum distributor, you have to put your ear on the ground as to what's the next move. What is the next move that Dangote will take now? You have to put your ear on the ground, irrespective of what NNPC says. Okay, he has that force to even push NNPC to do what NNPC doesn't want to say. Okay, something like that. So we can find a bit of this in that. Remember that our ExxonMobil case, yes, where ExxonMobil now, or Standard Oil, was just crushing its competitors, doing everything hard to put them out of business so that it can control almost everything if allowed. Okay, so there is more to discuss about market capitalism. Okay, so you should go and dig this one down into your note. Okay, the economics and the capitalist economic system now. Okay, anybody is free to own properties. Anybody is free to own production properties. Anybody is free to sell things that are legally allowed, make profit. That these are the proper. These are the, yeah, we said here, operating freely. Yes. So now your job now is to study this deeply. Okay, study it deeply. There's a depth in your courseware on this. Okay, so I'm going to this is just the background to make you understand it. So we said, so in this model, your business unit, your business unit, like I said, is influenced more by economic forces rather than political forces. Political forces refers to what the government is saying. Then sociological forces refer to what the people, what the society is saying. So this should lead us to the second model. Okay, one more thing to say about this. Now, is it that the government does not really exist in a market capitalism model? No, the government exists, but government does not intervene. Government can just probably just intervene in little, government can just intervene like what we're having in the world today, where the pharmaceutical industry is trying to wield so much influence of profit. Okay, I think that's what's giving birth to many of all these medicines and drugs that don't help people get better. Okay, and anything they just write and tell the doctors, and that's what the doctors work with. So they just keep making people customers for life. Okay, that's what brought about COVID vaccinations, all of these things that you're seeing. So all most of this. Anyway, let's go on. Now, that's one school of thought. Okay, that scenario existed. I give you examples globally now. Just that example I gave to you globally is one serious one. The ExxonMobil case study was something that happened, okay, back there many years at the beginning. Now there's another scenario which in the majority of cases will be as if it evolved from that other one. Okay, as in it comes to a point where the governments of countries are now trying to exert influence using political power so that the power of business can be checkmated, right? Okay, the power of business, that's what we call dominance model. Okay, but the problem with this one now is that what this model is describing now is that as governments rise up, as governments rise up to do this, they didn't come to protect, they're not coming to protect the society. We have three parties, right? Business, government, and society. The government is not rising up to protect society. Government is rising up to also exert their own power. So it is two different powers now that are operating. Okay, we have businesses who have been there through market capitalism, and then political power now, governments coming in now to exert and oppress. Like if the minister of FCT now just come to your business office and say you don't have that land anymore, or more, you know what that means already. That's government power, political power now, right? But if it was just business by business, the way they can even do it is that they can buy it, they can lobby, put a bigger price, something can happen, and then influence. But if the government just comes, like the minister of FCT now, I don't know his name, sha, but I know you know him. So if he just comes and say, if he just comes now and say your business is not your business, it's on his land, they should like say he revoked land for some companies that have been for many years. I think Julius Berger also like that. Okay, so that's what dominance model describes, where on one hand you still have businesses and their power exerting influence on the society. On the other hand, you still have government and their power exerting influence on the society. So when you look at it from left and from right, the only thing you will say is that government just came up to a point where they don't want to tolerate businesses anymore, so they have to just come in. Okay, but their greedy self are still there. So this is where in ExxonMobil's case now, you find out that ExxonMobil, that Mobil company now, was bribing leaders of nations, okay, bribing governments so that they can go ahead to mine, do all those things. So the government will now be the one to even help them as far as need to are influencing. So no problem. Okay. He said here wealth and power meet here. I said that two types of money. There is economic money, and then there is what now? Political money. Good. So that's political power and economic power. And they oppress the society. In the market capitalism model, the first one that we did, the society's voice is just demand and supply. If the society can stand up and deal with a company, it simply means they will stop patronizing the company. But in their own case, there is for quality. So it means any business that can satisfy customers' want best has more influence in society. However, in this second dominance model, it's not really like that too. Okay, because government has force actually. So government has force. So you can read up. There's another depth there in your courseware. I need you to read it up. Okay. We said unfortunately,
No, you're
this
not showing your screen, sir.
I'm not showing my screen.
Yeah, it's
I,
not
I,
showing here.
I can see it from the feedback screen I'm using it, but I don't know if any other person can see my screen. I don't know whether it's your network.
I can see your screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's your network now. So maybe you reset it. Okay.
I can see your screen, sir.
Okay, so it's your network now. Maybe you try and reset it. Let's see. Let's see what you can get. When I say reset, okay, you just go on flight mode for like 5 seconds and then put it back on. It's like, come up again. Or you exit the call and join again. Okay, no, this can work. All right, so we said, unfortunately, this power and wealth. When I say power, we're referring to political power. When I say wealth, we're referring to business power. Okay, that is government. That is G, and then the B, business. This power and wealth are concentrated in the hands of only a small group. Okay, the society is in a pyramid, but only a small group of privileged individuals, privileged people. People, they can be corporations, government, only those ones control the society. Okay, so that's what this one is like. Okay, yeah. So we said the corporations means businesses. Okay, when you hear that word corporations, corporate body, business, that's what it means. Big business that have been registered by the government. Okay, that's why we have Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, to do all corporate matters. Good. So we said corporations and governments take advantage of society, with business having too much power. Therefore, changes. We need changes in this kind of a system. You might not see this exactly in the world today, but I want you to know that once upon a time, in certain countries, this was their picture situation. Okay, and definitely, there must be change. There must be changes. Okay, there must be that changes that we're expecting. Good. So, and that's what leads us to the third school, the third thought. That's what we call the countervailing forces. Other horns are rising to conquer, not like conquer though, but to challenge what that status quo. Okay, Shay Glory, you might want to mute your microphone because it's echoing. Give me the feedback, a reverb effect. Okay. Okay, you good. So here, remember we have business in the picture with their influence. Now we have the government and business put together having their own influence, as if they are doing 5 and 6. That's what that other model is like. Now there is not so much that the society can take. So some people are rising up from society, either as look at this, either as public catalysts, those who speak for the masses, who speak for people, and number two, either as environmental catalysts, those who speak for the environment. Okay, that means we're having two additional voices that also have influence. Okay, so now we have how many? 4 altogether, right? Business, government, the public catalysts, and the environmental catalysts. So we have 4 forces contending against one another. Okay, the powers of business and the government are now being checked. That's why we can have the likes of Showore that will come out and see what government is doing. They are bold, that kind of thing. What the government is doing is this and that. You can see people that look at Donald Trump in the face and say, is this, that? Those are public, some of them come as public catalysts. Some can say, okay, you cannot produce these products anymore because of how it's affecting the environment. You cannot, those are environmental catalysts. I hope we get that. Good. We get that. Good. I believe we get that. So these are like 4 different forces. So that what it says here is that countervailing forces model consists of 4 types of forces: business and government as usual, and then public and environmental catalysts. All the forces have power and influence. So none of them can dominate. So you see that dominant model has been trashed. None of them can dominate. There is an exchange of power and influence amongst them all. Okay, the power of business is checked and controlled. The power of government is also checked and controlled by the people. Okay, in a country that is sane, these categories of persons can drive the public to even go against the government at a point. Okay, good. So this brings us to the last one, where almost every corner you turn, there is an influence. Every corner you turn, It's not just four voices now. Even your customer, your consumer has a voice now. Okay, your consumer has a voice. Your neighbors, the place where you are doing your business, your neighboring communities, they have a voice that you also have to pay attention to. Okay, yeah, that your business has to pay attention to. So these are called stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? Somebody tell us who are stakeholders. What is a stakeholder, or who are stakeholders? Let's just hear from anyone, anything about who is a stakeholder when it comes to business. Very quickly, one, two, three, four, five.
To me, I would say stakeholder is someone who has contributed more in a business financially,
Okay,
but
thank you
like
for that
the
contribution.
shareholder, kind of.
Okay, okay, thank you for that contribution. Is there any other additional one that anybody else wants to bring up? Go on, please. Yes, your hand is up. Go on and
Person that
speak.
has a share in the business, in the country, like
Interesting. Okay,
if
thank
you
you
have
so
a share
much.
in the
I
business, you're a
saw
stakeholder.
the last person that spoke last time. Interesting. Okay. Any other person? I saw Tosin. Yes, please, my brother Tosin, go on and speak. I beg. Let's hear. Okay.
Yeah, stakeholders. These are the actors in the field, either in political field or business field.
Thank you so much. Another one, Madam Farida Suleiman. This will be the last one we'll take.
Right. A stakeholder could be someone who is really concerned about the business, who wants to share their inputs about the business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Every one of you has spoken one or two things that actually bring what a stakeholder is. Okay. Now let's put all your answers together. That's who stakeholders are. The shareholders are stakeholders. The debtors are stakeholders. The customers are stakeholders. The neighboring communities, they are stakeholders. The government is a stakeholder. Now look at it this way: any party, anywhere, who can whose decisions or actions can affect the business, or who the business can affect. Okay, that party is a stakeholder. Are you getting it now? Any that's in this our present age now. So the one that some of you mentioned earlier, those ones are shareholders. Shareholders are a particular category of stakeholders. Okay, but they're not the only stakeholders. Their own stake is that they are shareholders. They have invested in the company, and they own probably the asset of the company now, and they have a direct voice. But customers who also, like we're talking about people in the field as well. Now, to those people in the field, I want to look at it from people who the business interact with on a day-to-day basis. Those are stakeholders also. Okay, imagine you running a poultry or living in an environment where someone is running a poultry within a neighborhood, and the poultry is not properly kept, and then you just wake up one. You are a stakeholder in that matter. It's not you might not doesn't necessarily mean that you're a shareholder, but you're a stakeholder mean that you can come up with an issue one day that can close down that poultry. Okay, so these are
You have a voice in it.
exactly that's it. You have a voice. And now stakeholders have come to a point whereby they don't just wait to be affected. You said they are affected by the activities of business. Hello, can you hear me? I think I saw my network glitch just now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, good. So I said they don't just wait to be affected. They are even the ones affecting business now. The two-way things. Either they are affected by business activities, or they are the ones affecting business activities. Okay, so we said business is surrounded by many different influences. It's no longer a matter of business trying to trying to also power with government. You know, if you settle government, you have to settle the tribal chief. the Omonile in that case, for example, as we'll have it in the West. Okay. And then you also have to say to your customers, make sure they have the best. Otherwise, and make sure they have safe goods or safe services as the case may be. Otherwise, they will come for you. You also have to say to your suppliers, okay. You also have to say to the media or the community or anything at all. They're just there. Okay. They can just say one thing today and then for anything everybody will stop by Coca-Cola. Hey, Coca-Cola is this on the media. What's happening? Coca-Cola sales will just drop. What's going on? Like when they said Indomie used to kill people. That was around 2011 and 12. Before you know
Even
anything,
recently.
they brought up. So these are stakeholders. You see now, you can just come up and bring on situation, and then before you know anything, your sales are going down. That other one, it took the manager of Indomie to come on TV, and they cooked Indomie for him, and he ate on TV before he could clear that one that happened in 2010 or 2011. Okay, so this is how stakeholders behave. Okay, so it therefore behoves that you, as a business manager, you need to act in the best interest of everybody so that you can get your own what you want from all of them. Okay, so that's it. We said these stakeholders are critical to business. Okay, so as a business, you have responsibilities towards them. You have ethical responsibilities. You have social responsibilities. Ethical responsibilities mean you have to act in a way that is moral, not you know what I'm saying, right? And then socially, you also have to act in a way that you are blending. You are also going to bet- blend in their own culture or social life. Okay, if you can influence, fine, but you have to blend. A business, by its actions, can either benefit its stakeholders or burden them. So business must behave, okay, in its dealings with them in order to exist. Okay. Now let's come back here. I'll say stakeholders are groups or individuals who can significantly affect or are significantly affected by an organization's activities. Okay. So here we can now say who are the major stakeholders or who are the key stakeholders. It doesn't mean that there are not other stakeholders, but we want to identify the ones who, if they cough, you will listen. These are the key stakeholders, the major stakeholders, who they are. Okay. So we said typically they include customers, employees, the day your employee will go on rampage. I think when Dangote employees of the refinery went on rampage recently, right? That was a few months ago. So and then it led to another issue in the country as a whole too. All of these are employees, they are stakeholders, and so on and so forth. So we said these stakeholders are classified into primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. Okay, so that's the four. That's the four schools of thought that try to explain or describe or prescribe what how government, business, and society should relate between themselves. Who should influence who, at what point? Okay, something like that. Because there are greedy interests everywhere. So we cannot say business should be the one. But that's what the market capitalism is saying. We cannot say business should be the one that has the most influence. Neither can we say government. Okay, all forces. Okay, stuff like that. Now, look at this point here from here. Now, given who has the most influence, the question still narrows down to what the manager should do in given situations. What should you do in given situations? Now, it is on this basis that we now say that a BGS model is a systematic description of the ideas that describe or prescribe the interacting relationships between business, government, and the society. So what I want you to do on this is to take your courseware and read based on what I've explained to you. Read your courseware again afresh. I think this topic is broken down in two chapters. in your courseware. I think study session 3 and study session 4 of module 1. Okay, yeah. So that is that about the models of BGS relationship. If you have any question with regards to this, I'll take them now. But I want you to always note, like I said, that ahead of us, we also have 4 models of corporate governance. Do not, when we start treating those ones, do not mistake them for models of BGS relationship. We also have 4, as you mentioned, 4 theories of corporate governance, also 4 theoretical bases of corporate governance, and that's even the next thing we're going to be studying. Okay, so do not mistake them for one another. Try your best to make sure that you know when you're talking about models of BGS relationship, you know that you're not talking about models of corporate governance. Okay, good. If there's any question, I want to believe this class is a little bit understood, so I'm not so sure there will be any question. But if there's any, we'll take it. Otherwise, I'll just quickly introduce the next topic, which is corporate governance. Okay, so let's say we have laid the foundation. So that's where this model does now. We're now going to look at issues that concern business from all the topics they gave us to study. The first one that I want to say concerns business directly will be corporate governance. Corporate governance. I don't have anything on my screen. I'm not showing this slide on my screen because I want to hear what you already know about corporate governance. Okay. Can somebody help me? What is, you must have heard the term before, corporate governance. What is it? What does it mean? Okay, you can start by breaking it down. There are 2 different words there. The first word is what? Corporate. The second word is what? Governance. So let's hear from you, everybody, and then we'll break down the definition of corporate governance, and then we'll close for the night. What do you understand by the term corporate? What do you understand by the term governance? What do you understand by the term corporate governance? All right, go on, please. Let's hear you. Thank you so much.
Corporate here to me means coming together, like cooperating to do something together. While governance means ruling or leading.
Thank you. Now put it together. Now let's say corporate governance.
Coming together to govern. Coming
Okay.
together.
Yes, thank you for that foundation. That's a very good foundation that you have laid for us now. Okay. Anybody else wants to give us something so that we can build on these 2? All right, Madam Farida Suleiman. Let me open the
Together.
floor.
All right, thank you. Just like she said, coming together.
Go on, Madam Farida. Go on. Let me hear you. Coming together to.
All right, just like she said, coming together of different persons. So I feel it's coming together of the customers, the stakeholders, like you mentioned earlier, the suppliers, everyone involved in the business, corporately coming together to achieve a goal. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we've had more. Okay, we're having one more. Let's take one more. Abakar Sadiq. Let's take Abakar Sadiq. Okay. Abakar Sadiq, I see your hand is raised up. So let me give you a chance. Otherwise, let's move on. Okay. When you hear the term corporate body,
Hello.
Okay, are you ready now? Yeah,
Yes,
speak.
sir.
Let me hear you. Go on, please.
You said corporate deals with the business, those that control the economy. So you can say corporate governance is the whereby the companies are in control.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
everyone. Let me break it down.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. Let me take you one more time. Let me hear what you want to
Coming
start.
together of the business, society, and government. Business, society, and government. Coming
All
together
right.
of these 3.
All right. I would have preferred your first definition, your
I
first
also want the
contribution to this
contribution.
one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Let me just break it down here. Okay. Let me just break it down here. Let me just try and use what's on my screen to break it down here. Okay. First of all, let's start with corporate body. Okay. Yes, governance actually means ruling. And thank you for that. So governance means ruling. So we can use that word in any setting where there are many parties involved in the ruling. Do you understand what I said now? There are many
Ah,
parties involved in the ruling. Like in a nation, for example, Nigeria, there are many parties involved in the ruling of Nigeria. So we can now call that governance or government. It's not just one person that is ruling. Okay, there's the legislature, there's the executive, there's the judiciary, right? Fine. So all of them have to know their boundaries and their responsibilities so that when there is this kind of thing, we can now say governance. But now let's look at the first word there, corporate. Now I want you to know that we have finished business models. So that's not what we're not discussing models anymore. We have finished models. Okay, it's another topic we have entered into like this. Okay, so if we are taking 1 week before discussing this topic, if we are taking 1 week, fine. So maybe all the part where we have business, government, and society coming together, those parts would have gone out of it. Now we're looking at business issues, only business issues. So when we say corporate, a corporate body is a, are you following me now?
yes, sir.
A business that has been registered with the government. And when a business is registered, there's a degree to which a business will be registered. It will no longer be, it will now, it can now stand as if it's another human being. But this one now does not have hands and leg and body like that. It only has people who are representing it. For example, now in Nigeria, we have Dangote, Aliko Dangote, but we also have Dangote PLC. In the eye of the law, these two are different people. Are you getting it now? Something can happen tomorrow, and Dangote PLC we sue Aliko Dangote, or Aliko Dangote we sue Dangote PLC. I'm just using this example because it's the same name that has the business. There are many examples. So every company you see there that have been registered at that level is no longer, it cannot be owned by one person. It means two or more people will come together and then register the business. Good. In your BSAQ301, you did business ownership. Now, when it comes to limited liability company, where two people will come together and register a business, you now give it a name. That business is separate. Maybe you want to call it, maybe your name is Tony Elumelu, and you and your guys, and you want to call your business UBA. That means UBA is different from you. Are you getting it now? So that kind of a business that is a person in the eye of the law is called a corporate body. Corporate body because two or more persons came together to give birth to it, to establish it. Okay, so it becomes a corporate body. It is a person different from the two or more persons. They are all separate. Okay, so this is the perspective I want to have. So when we say corporate body, we're not even referring to small one-man business now. Neither are we even referring to partnership. We're referring to corporations. That's what they call them, multinational corporations, or just a simple corporation that you can have where you have registered. Like today in Nigeria, if you want to register your business, you can either register your business as you are registering a business name. Now can cost you around 10,000 naira or there about 10 to 15,000 naira, or as you're registering a company, that one now can cost you up to 85,000 naira or so with lawyers, and you must use a lawyer for that one. I hope you understand that now. So from that one that you register as a company, that's what is called a corporate body. Now, like a nation, these we see now there are players there. There are different players here. the people who came together to establish it, they are called the promoters. Promoters, they are the first set of shareholders. Other people who bring their money to join, we can now call those ones shareholders. So the promoters and the shareholders are all shareholders. Put them on one side. On another side, there are other people who run the business. Those ones are the managers, right? And then on another side, there are also other people who stand between the managers and the shareholders. Those ones are called the directors. I have mentioned like 3 different parties now, just the way we have legislature, executive, and judiciary. That's the same way now. We can also we have shareholders on one side, directors on another side, the managers of the business on another side. Now, how will these ones run? How would they relate in their behaviors? Okay, how would they behave? Who should have what power? Who should have what responsibility? Who should have what duty? This is what corporate governance is all about. Are you getting it now? Who should have what power, what responsibility, or what duty? This is what like in national governance now. We know what the legislature's job is. We also know what the executive job is. We also know what the judiciary's job is. So in the business setting, they also ought to be what the shareholders' responsibilities, their rights, their duties are, different from what the director's responsibilities and rights and duties are, different from what the managers and the employees now, the managers' responsibilities are. And all of these are supposed to be knit together to move the business forward. That is what corporate governance is about. I hope I have understood. I've helped you to understand what corporate governance is about. So if you can see my screen, you can see my notes. Now I talked about corporation, called a company, and then public corporation, and then talked about promoters, and then shareholders, right? We said in the structure, in Nigeria, we have the structure of leadership, right? I told you that one. But for companies, companies are owned by shareholders. Companies are represented by directors, what they call board of directors. But its activities are run by managers. Okay, so in a majority of cases, these promoters are the first shareholders. Anyway, let's go on. Now, you must know this. Shareholders are different from the company. They're not, as a matter of fact, the law does not see the shareholder as as an internal party to the company. The law sees the shareholder as an external party who lent his money. Okay, even accounting does this too. You put your capital in the business. In the eye of accounting, the business is borrowing money from you. Okay, this is what they call separate entity concept in accounting. The same thing as what the law does. So we said internally, we have the board of directors, the managers, and the corporate officers. Externally, we have the shareholders. Now look at this. The dealings between shareholders and the board of directors and other parties is what is known as what? Corporate governance. So corporate governance now, CG, is meant to control the relationship between their roles, their powers, their rights, their duties, every one of them. Okay, so here's a definition where we're going to stop tonight. We said corporate governance is the regulatory mechanism. Why this? Because if these things are not defined, then there will be fights. Nobody will know his boundary in terms of power or role or duty. Okay, so corporate governance is the regulatory mechanism or system which governs the roles. There are 3 things there: the roles, the powers, the duties and the relationships amongst who now? A company's number one, shareholders, board of directors, management, and other stakeholders towards the achievement of the company's objectives. Full stop. Any question on it? Let's close now. There's no question.
Sorry, sir. Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for the opportunity. Thank you so much, sir. So I want to ask, does shareholders do they have can they participate in decision making? I can need to know.
Definitely. Now, ordinarily, shareholders participate in decision making in two ways. Okay, in two or three or more ways, though, Cha. So some shareholders are just pure shareholders. Like Zenith Bank is selling shares, so you just carry your money and go and buy shares, right? If you buy a big share, you're not in the management, you don't have any business inside the banking hall. The one is just that you bought share. That type of shareholder now, the way you can decide, the way you can have a place in the decision making is through voting. When they gather once in a year for their annual general meeting, they want to make a decision. Shareholders will vote based on the number of shares that they have. One share, one vote. Okay, so that's the way that kind of shareholder we have a voice. So if you have your voice can only come in through your voting for certain decisions the company wants to take, right? So another way a shareholder can have a voice is if that shareholder is also in the board of directors, right? Because once upon a time, Tony Eluelu or Jim Ovia was in the Jim Ovia is the owner of Zenith Bank. Jim Ovia was once upon a time in the board of directors. That one has tenure, so maybe the tenure has finished. Now Tony Elumelu is not even in the board of director of UBA. Neither is he even inside UBA. As if he has finished all his tenure because the government, the law puts it that they have to be those things have to be regulated. Or a shareholder who is a manager also in the business. That one is for that one is like he's the one that's running the thing directly. One of them. So these are the things we'll be seeing under this corporate governance. I hope I've answered the question, right? Yeah. All right. Let's take that question. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Let's take the question. Somebody who's raising their hand.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Sir, talking about shareholders, and you said shareholders can also have a say in a business. Like, is it
Yeah.
every shareholders that should have a say in a business? Because I know that currently now we have something online that, aside being online, some persons just buy shares with some businesses. Like you can buy share with MTN, buy shares with maybe UBA or something. Does that mean I also have a say or contribution to the business?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, like I said, now you're in the first category. This kind of if you do that, you're in the first category of the shareholder that I mentioned, where the say that you will have in the business will only be to how much shares you have. And those shares are measured in one naira. So 150 kobo as the case may be. So the shares could be in millions and billions. So the question now is, how many shares do you have? You get the point now. They are real value, not the market value now. How many shares do you have? So if you have 10% of a company share, you know what it means to have 10% of Dangote's shares. Man, you have a voice. So if you raise your hand, if you raise your voice in the annual general meeting, that means you're going to attend the annual general meeting, and there you have to raise your voice based on the number of shares that you have. Okay. So if you have 51% of the company shares, it means you can sell the company. That's what it means. You must have seen some of these things in some movies like that, right? Yeah, so that's how it works. I hope I've answered you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so we are gonna call it a night here. I want you guys to go and rest, and then later on you can reflect on the things that we studied. Like I said, your quiz may start on the second week of December, so we're targeting that we would have finished everything that was supposed to do. By then, we should have finished all things we're supposed to study, right? So that we can just have a smooth ride. So I'll try my best to make sure that this semester we are consistent. So we just introduce you to corporate governance. So your job here now will be to go and read corporate governance, read about the historical basis. Why should this thing come up? What are the theoretical basis for it? And then what are the models that describe how these people are, especially the shareholders? Okay, so that will be it for the night. Thank you very much. Have a lovely night, every one of you. Yeah,
Thank
let me
you,
stop the
sir.
recording now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Good night.
Thank you,